Welcome to the daily news analysis by Civics and IAS for the UPSC CSE Prelims 2025. Here we'll try to discuss the important articles from the Hindu, the Indian Express and the PIB, which will be relevant from the UPSC CSE Prelims perspective. Displayed are the list of topics which we have chosen for today's discussion. So this article is in the context of the inaugural Sagarmanthan, the Great Oceans Dialogue, which is organized by the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways in collaboration with the ORF. In this context, let us talk about the Sagarmanthan, the Great Oceans Dialogue. See, it is co-hosted by the Observer Research Foundation and the Ministry of the Ports, Shipping and Waterways. Now, what are the objectives of it? See, it is to establish India as a global hub for ideas on maritime governance and also to shape a global maritime policy by facilitating debates among the diverse stakeholders. The focus areas of it are blue economy, maritime logistics, ports, shipping and waterways, critical minerals and diversified supply chains, global maritime economy, and lastly we have the training and labor standards in the maritime sector. Now, what is the significance for India? See, India is positioned to become the third largest global economy in the next 3 years, and furthermore, it contributed to 16% of the global growth in the year 2023. So, significantly, growing importance of the maritime domain in India's international collaborations on commerce, connectivity, trade, and human well-being. And lastly, it is the opportunity to take a leading role in the maritime governance. So, the different stakeholders involved in this are leaders and policymakers, strategic thinkers and scholars, intergovernmental organizations, maritime policy research institutions, and lastly, media, civil society, and industry. Significantly, the goal is to build a new, inclusive accord for oceans through global collaboration. The second article says that the final guidelines for incentives worth 2,000 crore rupees in incentives under the new PMAY-G scheme to support the installation of the public electric vehicle charging stations is to be released within a month. In this context, we'll talk about the PMAY-G scheme and the various components of it. See, the PMAY-G scheme was launched with a substantial financial outlay of 10,900 crore rupees and will be active until the March 31st of 2026. Know that it's designed to boost the electric vehicle adoption on a massive scale. And here's the exciting part. It's not just about encouraging the EV purchases. The scheme also focuses on building a robust EV manufacturing ecosystem here in India, which aligns perfectly with our Atmanirbhar Bharat vision. And also looking forward, see, PMAY-G is also a key player in helping India achieve its net zero emission target by the year 2070. So, it's not only about the cleaner air, but also about setting India on the path to becoming a global leader in sustainable transportation. Furthermore, the PMAY-G has 4 primary objectives. The first one is to accelerate the EV adoption, through which the scheme aims to encourage mass adoption of EVs with a special focus on public transportation. The second one is the building charging infrastructure. To support the EV users, it plans to establish a nationwide network of charging stations. And thirdly, to strengthen the EV manufacturing. This is through a phased manufacturing program of the PMP. The scheme will promote domestic EV production and enhance the supply chain. And also we have the environmental goals. Ultimately, it seeks to reduce the emissions and improve the air quality, which is a win-win for the environment and public health. Now, how will the scheme achieve these goals? See, the PMAY-G breaks down into 3 major components. The first one is the subsidies for demand incentives. This includes direct support for various EV categories such as electric two-wheelers, three-wheelers, e-ambulances, e-trucks, and electric buses. Then the grants for capital assets, through which financial support is provided for purchasing electric buses, developing charging infrastructure, and even upgrading the testing facilities to ensure quality and safety. And then we have administrative and awareness, through which it is to spread the word and manage the scheme efficiently. There are provisions for information, education, and communication activities, as well as funding for the project management. Know that the scheme is already driving results. In the year 2024-25 period, the electric vehicle sales in India have seen a significant surge. So the electric two-wheelers reached 571,411 units, while electric three-wheelers, including the e-rickshaws and e-carts, hit 1,164 units, and electric L5 category three-wheelers sold 71,501 units. This boost in sales showcases the growing interest in electric vehicles across the country, which is a promising sign, we can say, for the future. So, which EV categories qualify for the PM-E-Drive benefits? So, the categories are the two-wheelers, three-wheelers, e-ambulances, e-trucks, e-buses, and alongside these vehicles, the scheme also invests in charging infrastructure to make charging easy and accessible across the India. And finally, the testing facilities under the Ministry of Heavy Industries will be upgraded to ensure our EVs meet world-class standards. The next article talks about the pencil and properties of the graphite or the carbon. So we'll discuss all the relevant aspects which are important with respect to prelims. So firstly, if we talk about the core of a pencil, see, it is made of graphite, which is a form of a carbon. Know that the structure of the graphite is made of layers of graphene with strong bonds with each layer but weak bonds between the layers. So the writing occurs as graphene layers slide off onto the paper. Now, moving on to talk about the properties of the carbon. See, carbon exists in various forms. We can say these forms as allotropes due to differences in the atomic management. We have two examples. One is diamond, where the carbon atoms are arranged in a pyramid-like structure, making it hard and transparent. And the other one is graphite, where the carbon atoms are arranged in layers, making it soft, shiny, and black. Now, if we compare diamond and graphite, we can make the following observations. See, firstly, both are made of carbon, but they differ in physical properties due to atomic bonding. But diamond has strong 3D bonding, which is unsuitable for writing, whereas in graphite has a three-layered structure or the layered structure, which allows a slowing off onto paper, making it ideal for lighting. So how was graphene discovered? See, it was first isolated by peeling graphite layers with cellophane tape. Notably, the graphene is made of a single layer of carbon atoms, highly conductive and also strong. So, we have an area called condensed matter physics, which explains how collective behavior atoms and molecules creates a distinct material properties. Then, how is it relevant here? It's quite simple. Carbon atoms behave differently in groups. So, similar principles apply to other collective systems such as bird patterns or the traffic flow. The next article says that veterinarian Dr. Nitin Gupta, who is the wildlife health officer at Madhya Pradesh's Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve, has been transferred 3 weeks after the death of 10 elephants as per the forest department. In this context, let us talk about the Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve first, and then when we look at elephants from the prelims perspective. See, it is located in the Umeria district of Madhya Pradesh. Know that it is spread over the Vindhyan Hills. Furthermore, it was declared a national park in the year 1968 and also then it became a tiger reserve in the year 1993. Also, it is known for the Royal Bengal tigers. Notably, the density of the tiger population at Bandhavgarh is the highest known in India as well also in the world. Talking about its vegetation, it is mostly of dry deciduous type. Then the flora we have like the vegetation of Bandhavgarh is especially filled with sal forest in the valleys and the bamboo stretches on the lower slopes of the region. Then, if we move on to fauna, the important prey species consists of chital, sambar, barking deer, nilgai, chinkara, wild pig, chosinga, langur, and rhesus macaque. Then, talking about the elephants, see, elephant is the natural heritage animal of India. Significantly, the elephants are considered a keystone species because they play a very critical role in maintaining the balance and health of the forest ecosystems. Now, talking about the elephants in India, see, India has the largest number of wild Asian elephants, estimated at 29,964 according to the 2017 census by Project Elephant. So, significantly, Karnataka has the highest number of elephants, which is followed by the states of Assam and Kerala. Then, what about the conservation status for elephants? See, the IUCN Red List, in that list, it is endangered. Then under the Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act of the 1972 and furthermore it is under the Appendix 1 of the sites. Now let us talk about the Project Elephant also. See, this Project Elephant which was launched with the following objectives. Firstly, to protect the elephants, their habitat and corridors. Secondly, to address the issues of the man-animal conflict. And lastly, the welfare of the captive elephants. The next article here says that a month after the India and China announced that they would disengage their troops along the line of actual control, the two countries have agreed to discuss the next steps in their relationship, which includes the resumption of direct flights, visas, journalist permissions, river data sharing, and also allowing the Indian pilgrims to Kailash Manasarovar. In this context, we'll talk about the line of actual control, which might be relevant from the UPSC CSE Prelims. See, this line of actual control, whichever is there, is the notional boundary that divides the Indian controlled territory from Chinese controlled territory. Notably, the LAC is not formally agreed upon by the two countries and is neither depicted on a map nor physically marked on the ground. So, India considers this line of actual control to be 3,488 km long, while China estimates it to be around 2,000 km long. Furthermore, this line of actual control is divided into three sections. So, firstly, the eastern sector, which encompasses Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim. Then we have the middle sector, which spans around Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. And lastly, the western sector, which includes the Ladakh. So, India's claim is that the line follows the official boundary outlined in the maps released by the Survey of India, including both Akshay-Chin and Gilgit-Baltistan. Consequently, India's claim line extends beyond the line of actual control. But in contrast, China's LAC generally aligns with its claim line, except in the eastern sector, where it claims the entire Arunachal Pradesh as South Tibet. The next article says that for the first time since the beginning of the flagship rural housing scheme, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin in 2016, the Union Rural Development Ministry is allowing a self-survey for the beneficiaries. In this context, we'll talk about the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. See, this scheme, the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, is a flagship housing credit linked subsidy scheme, which was launched by the Government of India in the year 2015, which is to provide affordable housing to economically weaker sections and also lower income groups of the country. Furthermore, the scheme has two main components, which is the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban for the urban poor and Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, or you can even call it the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Rural for the rural poor. So now if we talk about the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, see, to address the gaps in the rural housing program and in the view of the government's commitment to provide housing for all by the scheme 2024, Indira Awas Yojana has been restructured into the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin with effect from the 1st April of 2016. Significantly, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin aims at providing Pakka house with basic amenities to all householders and also those households living in Kacha and dilapidated house by 2024. Note that the beneficiaries are identified using the socio-economic and caste census of 2011. Now, if we look at the features, firstly, a financial assistance of 1.2 lakh in plain areas and 1.3 lakh rupees in the hilly, difficult and integrated action plan areas is given under it. Secondly, the scheme encourages convergence with other schemes like the Swachh Bharat Mission for the toilet construction and Manrega for the wage employment. But notably, in the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, program implementation and monitoring is to be carried out through an end-to-end e-governance model using Awas Soft and Awas App. Remember that the nodal ministry for the scheme is the Ministry for Rural Development. Now, if you have to read further about the urban part, you can check out the notes given in the comment section, which is pinned. Okay. The next article says that the Supreme Court flagged the delay in carrying out the delimitation exercise in Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur and Assam, which are all the northeastern states, despite a 2020 presidential order rescinding the deferment of the process. In this context, we'll talk about the delimitation and then we'll briefly look at the Delimitation Commission also. See, the delimitation refers to the process of defining the number of seats and the boundaries for the territorial constituencies in each state for the Lok Sabha and also the state legislative assemblies. So, this process includes several steps. Firstly, establishing the number of electoral seats for each constituency, then we'll determine the geographical boundaries for these constituencies, and lastly, allocating the specific seats for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Then the constitutional basis for this is Articles 82 and 170 of the Indian Constitution that mandate the readjustment of seats and constituencies after each census. Significantly, this delimitation process is performed by Delimitation Commission, which is set up under the Act of Parliament. Know that the Delimitation Commissions were established 4 times in the years 1952, 1963, 1973 and 2002. The next article says that as part of India's official statement on Tuesday at the Conference of Parties in Baku, the Union Minister of the State said huge costs were being levied upon India for the voluntary climate action it was undertaking. In this context, we'll talk about the Conference of Parties. Then we'll talk about briefly about the nationally determined contributions. See, the Conference of Parties, in short called the COP, is an international climate meeting organized annually by the United Nations. So then we have something called the Paris Agreement, which is a legally binding international treaty on climate change. Know that it was adopted by 196 parties of the United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP21 in Paris, of France, under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. These are the key milestones of Conference of Parties, which are the Kyoto Protocol of 1997, Copenhagen Accord of 2009, Paris Agreement of 2015, Glasgow Pact of 2021, and lastly, Loss and Damage Fund of 2023. Then, if we have to talk particularly about the COP29, see, it was hosted in Baku of Azerbaijan, and it marks a pivotal moment as the country takes on the leadership role in global climate action. Know that for the COP29 is investing in a livable planet for all. Furthermore, they focus on three areas, which are firstly mobilizing the climate finance to support global sustainability efforts. Secondly, advancing the technological innovations in the renewable energy. And lastly, we have the developing comprehensive strategies for the global adaptation of the climate vulnerability. Then if we talk about the nationally determined contributions, see, under the Paris Agreement, each country is required to submit and update their nationally determined contributions every 5 years, outlining their plans for reducing the greenhouse gas emissions and adapting to the climate change. So you can say that NDCs are pledges made by the countries to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions and to adapt to the impacts of climate change. The next article says that India's achievement of polio-free status in 2014 represents one of the most significant successes in the global public health. Furthermore, the eradication of the polio was not a singular event, but culmination of decades of dedicated efforts, starting with India's participation in the Global Polio Eradication Initiative and complemented by the robust national immunization efforts under the Universal Immunization Program. In this context, let us look at the several key milestones in polio eradication. Firstly, during the early years, expanded program on immunization, which was launched in the year 1978. Then, in the year 1985, it was renamed as the Universal Immunization Program, targeting rural areas with free vaccines for children and pregnant women. Then the Pulse Polio program was launched in the year 1995, under which the nationwide campaigns using oral polio vaccine ensured vaccination of children under the 5 years of age. Under this, only we had the iconic slogan, which is Do Boon Zindagi Ki, which means 2 drops of life. Furthermore, door-to-door campaigns were also done to cover the remote areas. Then, the introduction of inactivated polio vaccine in the year 2015 added for additional protection, which was aligned with the global shift from the trivalent OPV to bivalent OPV. Even the surveillance and monitoring played a crucial role. Under this, we had acute flaccid paralysis surveillance, which monitored unexplained paralysis in children. Then, environmental surveillance, which detected the polio virus in sewage systems. Notably, India reported its last wild polio virus in the year 2011 in Howrah of West Bengal. Finally, the World Health Organization certified India as a polio-free on March 27th of 2014 after fulfilling rigorous criteria, including 3 years without wild polio transmission. Then we have other supportive measures. Firstly, routine immunization under the Universal Immunization Program. So, free vaccines for 12 diseases, ensuring high immunity and prevention of the vaccine-preventable diseases. Then, robust cold chain infrastructure and the electronic vaccine intelligence network improved the vaccine logistics. Then, the community engagement through which the volunteers and the health workers raised awareness and ensured vaccinations in hard-to-reach areas. Significantly, with the political commitment, even the central and the state governments provided the resources and prioritized immunization efforts. The last article of the day says that the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade today celebrated the 8th anniversary of 4 new industrial corridors that have accelerated the India's journey towards becoming a global manufacturing powerhouse. In this context, we shall talk about the key industrial corridors in India and also their impact on the economy. See, the first one we have is the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, which spans across multiple states of Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Maharashtra. Notably, it is anchored by Dholera Special Investment Region of Gujarat and Shendra Bitkin Industrial Region of Maharashtra. Know that the focus is on high-tech manufacturing and logistics hubs. And significantly, it is a joint initiative with Japan, setting benchmarks for international industrial collaboration. Then we have the Amritsar-Kolkata Industrial Corridor, which connects the Amritsar, Delhi and Kolkata, spanning around 800 kilometers. Notably, it impacts 20 cities and 40% of the India's population. Also, the regions like Kurpia of Uttarakhand and Rajpura Patiala of Punjab are emerging as the industrial hubs. Furthermore, it is catalyzing the regional economic development in densely populated northeastern states. Thirdly, we have the Chennai-Bengaluru Industrial Corridor, which is spanning Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. But significantly, it strengthens the East Asia southern trade. Furthermore, it includes nodes from Chennai to Bengaluru and extensions to Mangaluru also. Then know that it supports regional industry agglomeration and also trade enhancement. Then we have the East Coast Economic Corridor, which we can say that is India's first coastal corridor focused on trade and export capacities. So the key ports act as a critical international gateways. Notably, the Vizag-Chennai Industrial Corridor is the first phase, bridging the coastal and inland industries. Lastly, we have the Bengaluru-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, which covers high potential regions like Dharwad of Karnataka and Satara of Maharashtra. Notably, the focus is on high-tech logistics, balanced regional development, and strengthening the north-south economic axis. Then, if we have a look at the recent developments and expansion, recently, 12 new projects are approved under the National Industrial Corridor Development Program, in short called the NICDP. Significantly, an investment of 28,602 crore spanning 10 states along 6 major corridors is done. These are the examples of the new nodes. So in this video, we have discussed 10 topics which are important for UPSC CSE Prelims 2025 from the Hindu, the Indian Express and the PIB. Like this, we'll be discussing top 10 prelims topics every day and the video will be posted by 10 a.m. We'll be back again with another video tomorrow. Thank you.